There is a fundamental rule in crime television: the criminal always gets caught. But what happens when the person writing those true crime stories, the executive producer known for chronicling other people's downfall, vanishes into thin air? What happens when the hunter becomes the most wanted prey? We are talking about nearly $30 million stolen in one of the most audacious bank fraud schemes of the last decade. Yet, the central mystery isn't how she did it, but how Carole McDonnell, a 73-year-old former CEO, evaded federal authorities for nearly 7 years, landing her on the FBI's most wanted list, suspected of hiding in a luxury haven thousands of miles away. Tonight, we peel back the layers of the real-life crime story written by the woman who made her fortune documenting death and deception. For years, Carole McDonnell was the definition of success in Hollywood's booming true crime market. As the former CEO of Bellum Entertainment Group, McDonnell was responsible for distributing and producing hit syndicated shows like Corrupt Crimes and Murderous Affairs. She curated narratives of greed, lies, and betrayal for millions of viewers across the country. This was her domain, the calculated dark side of the American dream. But behind the scenes of her glittering production empire in Banc, California, a darker, far more desperate narrative was unfolding. Court documents reveal that by June and July of 2017, Bellum Entertainment was in serious financial jeopardy. The production company began struggling intensely to meet its financial obligations, even failing to make payroll. The weight of accumulated civil complaints and looming debt became unbearable. The woman who narrated justice on television was about to commit a crime rooted in desperation, a crime she thought could save her collapsing empire. But how could a single executive, drowning in debt, conjure up a plan so grand it would yield nearly $30 million? The answer lay in creating an entirely new identity, one rooted in unimaginable wealth.
The alleged scheme, which federal authorities state began around July 2017 and continued until May 2018, required meticulous planning and absolute confidence. McDonnell needed cash, and she needed it fast. The victims in this case were not ordinary individuals, but large financial institutions, including the Banc of California. McDonnell's weapon was not a gun, but a falsified pedigree. She walked into these banks and institutions and allegedly claimed a lineage that guaranteed access to astronomical wealth. She stated she was an heir to the founders of the McDonnell Aircraft Family, a name synonymous with major aerospace manufacturing and defense contracting. This fabricated connection was merely the setup for the major financial claim. The ultimate centerpiece of her lie was the $80 million secret trust. McDonnell claimed she was entitled to this massive trust account and used this false entitlement to secure loans. The audacity was staggering: $80 million in imaginary wealth to pull in nearly $30 million in real cash. Federal authorities further alleged that to solidify the deception, McDonnell procured letters from a trust company that falsely affirmed she possessed trust accounts with large balances that reportedly reached up to $20 million. In the end, McDonnell successfully allegedly defrauded Banc of California of approximately $14.7 million and secured another $15 million plus from other institutions, racking up a grand total of $29.7 million that she has not paid back. But the most compelling question remained. Once the money was secured, where did it go, and what was the true, desperate reason behind the elaborate scheme? The shocking motive exposes the hypocrisy at the heart of this deception. The truth, revealed in the indictment, strips away any romantic notion of a master criminal escaping with bags of untraceable cash. The $29.7 million was not used to start a new life, but to prop up the old one. The indictment states that McDonnell immediately used the fraudulently obtained money to pay, among other things, Bellum's creditors and the company's payroll. She had risked decades in prison, charged with bank fraud and aggravated identity theft, simply to keep her failing true crime business afloat. This was not a scheme for personal luxury, but a frantic attempt to stabilize a collapsing professional structure. Her downfall was a desperate scramble to escape her existing, legitimate debts. It is a chilling irony. The woman who made millions documenting the failure of others committed a crime just to pay the salaries of the very people who produced those cautionary tales. The motive was desperate, but the subsequent escape was calculated. Federal authorities formally indicted Mary Carole McDonnell in 2018. When the arrest warrant was issued that December, the former CEO was already gone. For nearly 7 years, Mary Carole McDonnell vanished without a trace, leaving the FBI to investigate the sudden disappearance of a high-profile true crime television producer.
For the FBI, the case of Mary Carole McDonnell became a relentless, long-term international hunt. She was a ghost, a 73-year-old Michigan native with ties to Alabama, effectively vanishing from the Central District of California, where she was indicted. But the net has been tightening. In a significant development in December 2025, the Bureau elevated her status, adding her to the FBI's most wanted list. This action signals two things. The case remains critical, and authorities have developed a concrete belief about her whereabouts. The woman who fabricated an $80 million family trust to steal money from U.S. banks is now suspected of hiding in the sprawling, exclusive landscape of the Middle East. According to the FBI, Mary Carole McDonnell is currently believed to be in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. She spent her career chronicling the consequences of crossing the line, yet she stands accused of committing one of the largest bank frauds orchestrated by a single executive. Now, the former true crime producer is the subject of her own ongoing international manhunt. The case of Mary Carole McDonnell proves that sometimes the most compelling crimes are not the ones on television, but the ones happening just behind the camera. She remains a fugitive, a symbol of extreme greed, hiding from justice in a luxury locale, and waiting for the final episode of her real-life crime story to be written.